Hello, everyone. Much love. Just got complete with our course resilience, and it's a really profound feeling. The journey that we went on, and there's a break between courses, so it's kind of a time to integrate what happened and feel into what is available within this work, and it, it's really strong stuff, and it's not for everyone, but for those of you that are called to it, you become like the mechanic of your own energy field, and it's like an internal power development that happens. You learn what your body needs in order to be in its optimal state of awareness, and these shamanic movements do that. They just eventually, if you follow through with them, you'll be redistributing energy that's been stagnant in particular areas of your field, and you place it in the areas that it would be beneficial. So we're just walking around with everything we are looking for, but it's abstract, it's strange, and the movements put you in a trance. You get silent, and that's where the breakthroughs happen. And eventually, you can use them to enter into dreaming while awake. Uh, you do all kinds of strange things at certain stages. Start working with colors. Colors come to you. You're surrounded by just a single color. It's so incredibly healing to be in silence. And it's hard to get there without a moving meditation. And that's what this does. It gives you something to do that if you just keep doing it, eventually it'll break through. You'll be in these deeper layers of the onion. And this whole place is amazing. Like this is all exactly what's needed, is whatever theater is playing out on the world stage, or whatever is being offered as the obstacle course. It's designed, for us to become aware of what matters to us in this particular, as a unique individual being discovering your path of heart. And that's what we talked about in my course on the last class, is finding your path of heart, falling in love with your existence, discovering what impeccable actions and non-actions are. Impeccability being very different than discipline. It's a really elusive subject, but it's a thing that can be discovered with deep listening and knowing. And we also talked about the warrior's way. What Don Juan told Carlos about, is that there is a way to do this, but you do revamp the way in which you live. You shift everything. Not having a Don Juan or not having particular people in place to put pressure on us, it's a totally different process than what Carlos went through. Um, and so, at any stage in life, one can use this work to just bring balance to their life. You don't have to get into the depths. Um, so, it's beneficial as just a means to ground, as a means to heal your electrical self. So it's not the only thing in town or the only game that exists that will do the work for you, but it leads to shadow work, because the recapitulation, it's a way of getting to know your patterns, your habits, your behaviors, and the way in which the program has had, the way in which you've been hypnotized, and everyone's hypnotized to a degree. Um, some are less than others, and when you're around people that are less hypnotized, it's an incredible experience. Lucidity is an incredible thing to discover, to be able to place your awareness in a different layer whenever you want, and to be able to see and travel. Essentially, it's a feeling of consistent movement. You're observing something moving, It's you, it's your assemblage point, it's your perception is traveling when you go into that other side of things. It's really difficult to change your life enough to be able to stay there and still be functional here, but people do it. There's people that walk in and out of worlds, and they're not perfect people, but they learned what these books explain, what Castaneda books teach you. It's profound. It's an explanation, it's a manual, and it's a really beautiful way in which a man recapitulated his life and then shared. He channeled these books in a way in which he was healing his spirit, so that he's releasing himself into these books. His essence is in there. They're alive. Taisha's books are alive. Somebody brought that up in our class last night. And so it is this is a world of terror and beauty. It's terrifying to realize how much magic there is and how cut off we are from it. So we're healing, we're coming out of domestication. Those of us that were rewilding, we don't have to go build a cabin in the woods in order to rewild. But that would be a powerful thing to do as well. Spending time forest bathing, learning to be silent in the mountains, or in the desert, in the dunes. The dunes are so psychedelic. Everything is, There's so many places of power that one can go and get to know this place, the power of this realm, the power of the earth. It's exciting. It's very exciting to realize how much more there is. And it's also confronting, but that's the point. Like, if we are comparing ourselves to people and what they do, then we're all caught up in maintaining a story or a level of complacency to a system that's designed to keep us from seeing and remembering what we are. If we could remember what we are, then we wouldn't be able to be controlled and limited to the degree that we are. So it's not even shamanic, it's just discovery. And it is dangerous. It's dangerous to expand your perception, but it's probably more dangerous not to, ultimately. And so we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, but we can have fun. We can take the challenge, but not in like a perfectionism way. Like, if you're really hard on yourself, it's going to be hard to make fun of yourself and laugh and enjoy the humanness and all the different parts that you're avoiding. And that's the only way to make sure you don't turn into a monster inside of your transformation. The program will keep you controlled as a victim, but when you come out of victimhood, it will attempt to make you feel victorious so that you don't stay in that neutral zone. And that's what's so tricky about this place. Is powerful people end up becoming corrupted, typically. But by speaking to that and being aware of it more and more and observing, one can navigate this place without needing people to be anything other than what they are. So you can learn a lot from people who that happens to. It's confronting. It's disturbing. It's it's insane. Everyone is insane. And the people that think they're sane are the most insane. But the people that have gone insane and have come out the other side have so much respect for the whole process of just becoming aware. And so then you're not in judgment. You just see and understand what people are going through. And observing people whose perception moves rapidly and in uncontrollable ways is fascinating and disturbing and sad. And then people whose perception is fixed, that their perception does not move, then they're the ones that are the easiest to hypnotize and control and condition. They're not seeking the other side of the coin. They're not looking for the moreness. Some people have never experienced the slightest bit of silence. And that's okay. Doesn't mean they won't. At death, everything is revealed. Silence is available when we cross. What if we could learn to be in it before? Learn to live in silence, to where you're not listening to a voice. You learn to create commands. You still use words in powerful ways. But you're in a lucid state in which you're having to focus on what you're observing. So there's no room for words. The words pull you out. The breath work and psychedelics and things, the way people get there is by flooding their being with intensity of observation. And so music, sound, a lot of people heal themselves with live music, as I do. It's truly life-changing to be able to fully express and release through your dance. When you're listening, as to, where to go and when, and you can do it from your home as well. It's just to be alone in the presence of people is powerful. It's like a sea of energy. So some of the most profound perceptual experiences happen in like large cities for shamans that are not attached to the outdoors or nature. It's still the earth, even if you're in a skyscraper. You're not separate from her. And when you realize that, then everything becomes the playground opens up. It's just as exciting to be in the middle of nowhere as it is to be in the middle of everything. And then, that's the breakthrough, because you're listening and following a thread that will lead you to no limits, where the adventure becomes spontaneous and magical based on signs and omens and feelings. And we need that. We need that ability to break pattern, come out of in order to come out of certain types of hypnosis, to have adventure, to be adventurous, to learn about the lucid side of perception, so that your adventures can happen whether you're in a jail cell or out hitchhiking or whatever it is. Hitchhiking at a young age was a huge pattern break. Doing it in the late 90s was dangerous and intense. It was amazing. People would pull their car over and say, I didn't pull over. Like, I don't pick up hitchhikers. Why did this, like, that car would be pulled over for me? And I'd have the most amazing conversations. I was quite the free spirit at 17. I was in in deep with the castaneta material, and um, just going through it, and having a lot of fun. And so there's just a lot of magic, and it can happen at any point in your life. You can you can go on an adventure. You can walk long distances. You can do things that you don't realize you can do, and or even give yourself permission. Like, a lot of clients will say, well, I really want to be in this one place, it's just too far away. And well, is it really that too far away? Because if you just get up now early and go get there, and when if you allow your calling to take you to the places where you can have an emotional release, it's worth investing in yourself. The gas money, I mean, I get it if it's not available, but there are some tricky ways in which we have to take care of ourselves if we're truly listening. And the universe usually rewards us if we do something of that nature, and so it gets paid for somehow. Something happens and shifts when your chakras get cleaned up, or when your energy gates get less, so ecstatic experiences, emotional release, um, tears, laughter, and silence. And silence will bring tears and laughter, because it's such a profound experience to be able to feel so strongly and to be perceptually so aligned with whatever you're observing. And so gazing, and the stuff that I get to do now more easily than ever, it really does make all the difference in the world. Um, but there's so many areas that I've yet to begin to cover. So I'm in the beginning of a really magical process. I'm helping people to get to where I am at, and there will be people that I train that will go much further than I am, especially if they start young. I got really beat up by training with really wounded people who were very, very powerful, though. So I'm not at odds with what happened, but you don't have to. Uh, I can teach people a lot about what it means to have a shadow teacher, so that they can learn from that without having to have that experience for themselves. But ultimately, everyone has shadow teachers of some sort, whether you had a mean first grade teacher, or whatever areas in which you were challenged by another person. So tyrants aren't meant to go away in this realm. They're here to teach us a lot. The bigger the ego, the better, because it will show you up front and up close what it means to be, um, caught in the materialistic, or the merchant mind, and how liberating it is to not be in the merchant mind, to be doing it for spirit, not for profit, to be free of that drive, that workaholism, that addiction to financial security. And it's a tricky dance. Everything is a balance of sorts, because the extremes, although they are enjoyable to go into at times and learn from, they can be very entrapping. Perfectionism, uh, there's just all kinds of things that are trenches, basically. If you get into the trenches with whatever is out there, you start to identify with that, with your money, with the groups that you associate with. You start to become archetyped, in a sense, like you fall into a pattern that's societal. It's already established. It's been there a while, and there's a way to not do that. There's a way to stay out of those ruts. And that's what I help people with, is to keep it light and to be creative inside of all of it, and just, be realistic about where they're at. A lot of people are trying to convince themselves they've already done so much work that they need to be further along, and then there's just a lack of awareness as to what kind of pain they're still in. And me included, like this, I'm not separate from that. And I work with people to try to get more honest through their reflection. And even though they might unconsciously project some of their own limiting perceptions, I can still benefit from the areas where they're not doing that. I don't need people to be perfect. And I don't put people on pedestals, and I don't let people put me on pedestals. But I used to put people on pedestals, and it hurt me and them. And it's just very ungrounding for everyone involved. But it's part of learning. It's hard not to. And we weren't meant to know anything more than we do until right now. Everything's divine timing, even though it may not seem that way. So there's no need to regret. When you recapitulate, it's like you understand the trauma that got you to the place in which all the things occurred. But then you get to meet yourself in a new way and have a new conversation. At a certain stage of the recapitulation, you start to receive vision of how to strategically unwind. And there is a domino effect. When you heal certain pieces of your story, it affects other pieces of the story. And you become a storyteller in a way. You start to speak things into the field that will free you from the limitations of what was said and what, has created your current reality. So silence, and then magical thinking, speaking in beautiful ways about what you perceive. Joy, sadness, feelings, lots of feelings to feel. And if at first it's a lot of resentment and bitterness and anger, that's okay. Finding a way to get that energy to move, learning to express your anger can be the most powerful thing ever. It's where you find your bark. There's so much that throat singers and people that learn how to go and make the craziest sounds come out of their body are healing themselves inside of that process as well. Singing in general is a healing experience for many people. Patty Griffin would have to go into her closet and sing into her clothes because, she was in a home with too many people. But she couldn't not sing because it was her destiny to be a really powerful voice in this world. Even if you've avoided what you love, as I have, and in many ways, there's always time to be honest with what you really want to be doing and face that confronting creative block and move through it and stay inside of it. And you can feel feelings of inadequacy when you're inside of the block and just trying to push past it. You'll learn a lot about yourself in doing that, and I'm looking forward to freeing myself from a lot of things that I've not been able to admit that I want to be able to do. And through this more honest discovery process, it's going to be challenging to break the patterns of avoidance of those areas. So, allowing the longing and feeling your death, and letting yourself understand what your passion is for, allowing your desire and passion to become present, and then learning to sit inside of what you want without exiting it, like stay there for longer periods of time inside. What would it feel like to feel the feelings you want to feel? And then boom, just by imagining, you are then doing that at a certain point, and then that becomes, it shifts everything. The challenges then increase, but you walk toward them because you understand that by running from them, you've made them scarier than they are. So the stronger we get, the more we are given opportunities to become stronger. And we spend our whole life often wishing that the challenges would stop, and therefore creating them into monsters and trying to create a life in which they go away. That's not how it works. Everything's happening for us, not to us. So we walk toward the things that have been scary in the past, and we'll realize they're not as scary as it seemed. So just becoming resilient, adaptable. Much love, everyone. Hope to work with some of you that are called to train. The one-on-ones are powerful ways to do the work. You don't have to join the courses. I can teach the same things in private sessions. Obviously, it's different. But yeah, hope to connect. I'll start doing some lives here this year, and on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. So look forward to making connections and doing some podcasts coming up soon, and going to be inviting more and more people to come on my channel. Look forward to connecting further. Much love, everyone. See you next time.